Well, what a great day for Pirate Nation. The cannons were firing this morning from about 7 a.m. all the way till about 8:45, 9. Thank goodness it was one of those days where we didn't have any curveballs that we had to swing yet. Our coaches did a great job building relationships over the last year now, and that's the difference in this recruiting class and the last recruiting class is definitely the relationships that we were able to build over the last 12 months. Last time through, it was one of those situations where we're trying to maintain the class that was already here and just add a few pieces to it. This time coming out of spring, we had a much better vision on what we had to do to make our team better. First of all, a lot of thanks to go to a lot of people, but Walter Williams, Parker Overton, Parker's Barbecue, Sam Jones, they were great and fantastic for us throughout the recruiting process. The only way we were able to get to some of the places that we were able to get to early, I told people that I was in 3 states in one morning. I think I was here in Michigan, back down in North Carolina, and on to Mississippi in one day. We couldn't have done it without help from Glenn Hall and Garrett Blackwelder and David Bond for the use of their planes. Really, really appreciative of them. I also want to give a personal thanks to our video crew. Some of the things you guys have seen over the past few weeks or few months in recruiting, whether they be edits, whether they've been video, our guys spent a lot of time. I call and sometimes in the middle of the night to get some of these things done, and they do a great job. So I got to give a huge shout out to Addison and Kevin, our entire staff here at ECU, and I mean everyone, people on campus, athletics department, of course, for all the help that they've been provided us over the last 12 months, compliance, and I'm just really, really happy with what Greenville did. And Pirate Nation reached out to so many people to try to help us in this recruiting process, and we're really, really appreciative of that. I am impressed with this class. This is a big-time class. I know this class from an athletic standpoint. I also know this class from just building in character standpoint. You know, for 12 months, when you're recruiting people, you go through ups and downs with recruiting. You're finding out about their academics. You're finding out new social information. You're finding out family life, and it's a huge process. And one of the best things our coaches did was provide me with a lot of information to be able to make some of these decisions that we had to make. Well, addressing the class, first of all, we want to start about the in-state progress that we've made. For the second consecutive year, we've done a great job in-state because of the relationships that we've had. We had a big year once again, signing the most players in the state of North Carolina. We're going to continue to do that. Our footprint, I told people earlier, we worked down into the South, got deep down into Mississippi. We took a plane ride over to Texas and even up to Ohio to sign some players in this class. But I'll start with our defense, and we'll kind of break it down by defense and offense. I want to just talk briefly about each kid. It shouldn't take me very long, so stay with me. Taj Alston, a defensive lineman, 6'4", 215-pound kid from Vass, North Carolina, at Union High School. His distinguishing characteristic, I think, is length. He's going to provide immediate help for us in the pass rush. Just talking about our defense, we brought in 8 kids in that front. We wanted to address the front, whether it be our defensive line or our linebackers, and we brought in 8 kids there, and we think that 5 have immediate pass rush help. He is one of them. Kid Bruce Bivens, linebacker, 6 foot, 220 pounds, Houston, Texas, Davis High School. A lot of people may not know about this kid. This kid is clearly the most explosive kid in this class. He is, a dynamic 200-meter guy, somewhere in the 22, 21 range in the 200 meters. He has a 41.5-inch vertical jump, and he is a linebacker. We're looking for him to come in and have a major role here. Jaden Borders, 5'11", I'm going to go to defense. Cannon Gibbs, linebacker, 6'2", 230 pounds, from Brandon, Mississippi, Jones County, JC. His distinguishing characteristic is that if you're not paying attention, he will hit you. And I mean in the building, out of the building. That's exactly what we want from our linebackers. We want guys that can tackle in space. He is that kind of a guy. Right behind him, Delvonte Harris, DB, 6 foot, 185 pounds, from Noonan, Georgia, Noonan High School. Another physical safety that we had the ability to have around us a long time, recruit a long time, all the way basically from this time last year is the first time we really got a chance to see him and be around him. Recruited him hard throughout the year. We were able to seal the deal. Brandon Henderson, defensive lineman, 6'5", 275 pounds, from GMC. He is going to provide us some immediate help, we think, at the pass rush responsibilities. His recruiting was a lot. I'll tell you that. Over the last 3 to 4 weeks, a lot of people in this room know he tripped just about everywhere. And at the end, I think that what Robert Prunty and Coach Kenwick Thompson was able to do and just continue to drive home those relationships right there at signing time made the Pirates his number one choice. So we're really happy about it. Marcus Holton, another kid from GMC, he's going to give us some chance, flexibility at the corner position to go out and cover and do a good job of tackling in space. Really have watched him for a long time. He's been on our radar for over a year as well. Jaquan Nelson from here, High Point, North Carolina, North Carolina, athletic defensive lineman. We think that he's going to give us some pass rush inside and also be able to help stop the run. We're looking forward to see what he brings to the table. Ben Norris is a versatile linebacker from Charlotte, North Carolina. He plays extremely well in space, athletic, big, long, physical. We can also add him into our rush packages if we need to. We think that he is going to be a guy that you hear his name quite a bit. Tyree Owens, 6'4", 285 pounds from Colin, is going to be a big-time prospect here and play well here and do a good job here. I'm really excited to see that we're able to bring in so many body types that get into the 6'4", 285-pound with pass rush responsibility. We're also adding length on the interior, so some of those gaps will be expanded by our wingspan. We've done a good job of trying to create more length on this team. A late win in recruiting Devondre Tank Robinson, 6 foot, 190-pound guy at times in his recruiting. He was the number one safety in the state of South Carolina. It got heated once again, even after we got him committed over the last 2 days. It started to turn up again for him. We did a good job on the official visit weekend. Our staffs just loved him and his family, and their family returned the favor by signing with us this morning. And then late to the class, who we were watching for a long, long time, and we're trying to keep it as quiet as we possibly could keep it, and Kenan Solomon from Timberlake, North Carolina, Person High School, right here in North Carolina. Another big man, 6'5", 265-pound defensive lineman. As you heard, our defensive linemen have kind of changed. We've probably had more 6'2", 295, 305-pound guys. Now you've heard kind of a change to a 6'5", 6'4", 6'4" kind of body frames that will give us the chance to not only rush the passer, but we'll be a little bit better at batting balls and also stopping the run with length. That will make up our entire defense. We wanted to make sure we addressed our front. We also wanted to make sure we addressed our defensive backfield. We did that. We brought in a total of 11 guys on defense, so that class was exactly what we wanted it to be, and we're going to continue to try to grow with length and speed and being able to tackle in space. Offensively, the offense did a great job. They've had a lot of their guys committed for a long time. And one of the things that helped us in the recruitment of a certain individual is the length of time committed. And when guys are committed, there is no such thing as, you got to go stop recruiting, or someone is going to stop recruiting, or another college is going to stop recruiting. When you get a guy committed, you have to turn up the recruiting. And that's exactly what our guys did on offense. So they've had guys committed a long time, and they've recruited them hard. Jaden Borders, 5'11", the only kid that we have under 6 feet. He is dynamic. 170 pounds from Shelby, North Carolina. He's a playmaker at the slot position. But one thing, I don't think I've ever said this about any player that I've recruited, he's a 4-time state champion. And that is a big-time deal no matter where you are and where you've been. Excuse me. I may be a late guy that I've been waiting on. And if I miss that guy, I'm gonna blame it on everybody in here. Thank you, guys. Trace Christian, 6 foot, 225-pound running back from Longwood, Florida. Big, physical, exactly what we need at the running back position. Has kind of changed my outlook on taking big backs, because usually when you take big backs, you don't get the athleticism that we were able to see. But there were a few guys this year that were athletic that I really, really liked at the back, and we got the one that we wanted there. Leroy Henley, big-time recruit, 6'1", 180 pounds from Pompano Beach, Florida, Deerfield. He's versatile. He's a threat outside. He can catch the ball quick. He can convert on the chains. Really like what we see out of him to this point. Kingsley Affetti, the #1 quarterback in the state of North Carolina from Vance High School. big, athletic, dual threat quarterback. Feels really good to say we got the #1 quarterback in the state too. Just to let everyone know, we feel very comfortable with our kids in state. Our guys, our best players in state are good enough to beat anybody. So we're going to continue to try to take them. Matt Morgan at the offensive line position, 6'5", 275 pounds. He and Kingsley and Jaden are already here in class and enrolled. 6'5", 275 pounds from right down the street in Clayton, North Carolina. He's long, athletic, and what we're finding out in winter conditioning, he's extremely tough. He's battling his butt off. Darius Penix, running back, 6 foot, 225 pound, from Elon, North Carolina, Western Alamance High School. This guy has a unique skill set. This guy has great hands, can catch it out of the backfield, will run you over, will make you miss in space. Really can't wait to get him on campus. We know exactly who he is. We've been able to have a great time of recruiting him. He's been committed for a while. These are the kind of guys in North Carolina that you'll read about later being great football players no matter where they go. We're thankful that he came and played for us. He could have went other places, but he chose to stay with us. Blake Pro, wide receiver, 6'1", Charlotte, North Carolina. You know about his pedigree. His father's a great player. His father was a great coach, retired. He's been coached to the utmost. His unique skill set is he has great short space quickness. He is unbelievable with the ball after the catch as well. And everybody in the end knew that he was in a situation where a Power 5 team gave everything that they have to try to get him to leave East Carolina, but he realizes how great East Carolina is, and at the end of the day, he is in Greenville and nowhere else. So we're really, really happy about that. And we knew that the people on this list, that we were going to be in battles like this. This is what we love to do. I'm all for battling and recruiting, and we're going to continue to do that. We're not afraid to lose in recruiting. Some coaches won't go recruit as soon as they see a big-time team offer a guy. Well, we're going to recruit them to the end. They're going to have to make the decisions in the end, but we're going to be up all the way until the last person is awake, and we're going to recruit, and that's what it took to get Blake. But his family is great, and they did a good job. DeMarcus Shaw, 6'4", 320-pound guy from Batesville, Mississippi. He is an offensive lineman in every sense of the word. When he walks in here, he walks like an offensive lineman. He talks like an offensive lineman. He does a really, really good job of going out and competing every day in these winter conditioning drills that we have. I'm looking forward to seeing how quickly he can help us. John Spellacy, 6'1", 285-pound, Westlake, Ohio, just tough, hard-nosed, probably will be the most game-ready center coming out of high school that I've ever, being able to recruit with where he comes from in school. If you go and look at the pedigree of the offensive linemen that come from that school, he's been coached at a high level. I really like where he is. He does a good job, and he will have a great chance to come in and compete to get into our 2 deep and work really hard. Mydrion Vines from right here in Greenville, North Carolina, Jay's Rose. He's long. He's going to be a vertical outside receiver with great skill set, can catch the ball all over the field. Really like Mydrion. Great family here in Greenville. They bought in to what we're trying to do in this program. They know exactly what we want these young men to leave here and be like, and that's exactly what he's been able to see growing up. His family is great. I love those type of relationships that you have with people, because you can tell a lot by the family that they come from, and man, are we blessed to have his family now be a part of our family. Eric Weaver, tight end, 6'2", 230 pounds. We've known him for over a year now. Athletic, physical, inside, outside, can catch it at the tight end position, can even go backside by himself at the receiver position and play. And his position flexibility, all last year he played defensive end. So we got a big-time athlete with him. So 11 on offense, 11 on defense, kind of balanced class. We're really, really happy that we're able to sign such a great class here at ECU in our second year.
Coach, you said you love those battles when other teams come in for a prospect you guys are after. What's it like behind closed doors with you guys when you get a victory? You say you don't mind losing one, but what's it like when you win some of those?
It's a joyful time. It's one of those things that we've captured some of those joys on tape, and we even look back at some of them from last year. But some of the victories people don't understand, they happen when we're all out on the road and we're all recruiting really, really hard. So sometimes we have to celebrate by ourselves. But the better times are times like this morning, where we did have people try to come in on people and we get them, and the fax machine buzzes or the text message buzzes, and we get to see the actual NLI in hand. man, it's some pretty special times because it took everybody. It's not one person jumping around like I did it. It's we did it. The people of Greenville, Pirate Nation, everybody that helped us in recruiting, whether they brought us food, whether they gave us advice. I mean, I got newspaper articles from Walter Williams that helped me recruit. It wasn't nothing illegal to it at all, but it was just a news article. And it was very informative, and it helped us with the kid get over the hump just because of all information provided. So those are big victories.
With Ken and Solomon, you mentioned some of the tactics that have gone on behind the scenes. Give me a sense as the coach, what kind of things are going through your mind when you get close to signing day and you think you're close to getting a guy like him?
You know, it's hard because you have to measure everything. You know, it starts with the kid. You do not want to harm the kid. So you want to make sure that he's going to have the opportunity to get educated first. You also want to protect your brand, and our brand is very important to me and every one of our coaches. So in the protection of that brand, sometimes you don't want to just start recruiting too early because it's bang, 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 and you start a wildfire, and that creates confusion for the kid sometimes. So in some of those battles, there are strategic times that you do what you do when you do, and sometimes you can come out. We've known this kid was a big-time player for a long time. I think a lot of people know that. And in the end, other people tried to do the same thing. And then we're very fortunate that the relationship we built from him coming down here, being in our camp, him coming down to, every time that he's came down here. I mean, this was probably, he said this was the place that made him want to attend college. So when you hear that 4 or 5 months ago, you know that you might have a really good chance to get it done.
To sign a guy like Myron Bynes from Rose and then also get a preferred walk-on and Deuce Fuller at Conley, to have 2 targets from right here in Greenville, what's that like for you?
It's special because we're getting family members. We are receiving family members. We're receiving the whole community. We're receiving Pirate Nation that's already Pirate Nation, but now they get to see a little bit of their family out there on the field, so we look forward to that.
You held an open practice in Charlotte. There are 3 guys at least on this class that are from Charlotte. How much do those 2 things have to do with each other?
I can't recall who was there for that. I'll say that. I can't recall who was at that game or at that practice, but it definitely is going to help us in the future. We plan on making sure that we treat the state right. As you guys know how I feel about being from here and how fortunate it is to be the head football coach at East Carolina University and be from North Carolina. That, for me, that says a lot. But it's definitely going to help us. We're trying to be more into that area. We're going to recruit that area more. I also want to get into Virginia Beach a little bit more than we have been. I want to be there, but I got to build the relationships the right way. We took time during that time. We took the whole staff to Virginia Beach, and we went to almost every high school in the area, in the Tidewater area, because we want to build relationships the right way and not just take people. And that's what we're working on doing.
Coach, you obviously didn't have a ton of experience recruiting JUCOs at Duke. How much did you kind of rely on the rest of the staff to help you with those connections and bringing some of those immediate help guys in?
Well, I did a lot of research on junior colleges when I was at Duke the first time. Not that we were going to take one. I think we've taken one junior college kid at Duke the whole time, but not that we were going to take it. But it was more about the relationships of the coaches that I wanted to find out and know. But I leaned on the coaches that had been in it more. From a rules standpoint, I leaned on me because that's what I try to be as close to the rules as I can and learn as much as I can. But the relationships, we had some coaches on the staff that had been in some of those places coaching. We had some coaches on the staff that had worked directly with some of the coaches in some of these junior colleges at different times of their career. So I had to lean on them a lot. But at the end of the day, me being able to get on the road and fly down there and actually set with coaches and at certain places, that's where we kind of leaned on the most. Yeah.
Both running backs in this class are 220 plus, big bodies. How much does that reflect the conference that you're in and the physical nature of just everybody that you play? Well,
I learned a lot this year about our conference as we were going through it. I knew a lot before. You know a lot. Now you learn what's going on. And what I learned is that people were bringing a physical battle to us, but I think that we can bring that physical battle at another level if we can continue to get bigger at a lot of our positions, but we're also keeping and maintaining the speed element to it. We're recruiting in a different pool. We're recruiting against guys that have been very successful in the run game when it comes to the running back position. And it's also about the flexibility of some of those players that we're taking. We need some position flexibility, whether they can go out and catch well or they can go play special teams. So when you add big bodies at the back position, now you're adding great special teams players as well.
Is it pretty safe assumption that the guys that are enrolled now as freshmen could possibly play this coming season as a general rule, do you think?
I wouldn't say it was a safe assumption. I haven't seen them play yet. Against grown men, they have a better opportunity to play than they would ever have.
Fetty, the quarterback, could we see him next year, do you think? 2017?
Yeah, he'll be at practice. I do. There's a great possibility. You just really don't know. And at the quarterback position, when you have a young guy that can potentially help you, you want to give him a chance to play, but at the same time, he has a lot to learn. He's a physical specimen. He does have a skill set. There could be a situation where we could use him, but we also feel really good. I'll tell you this, we feel really good about Reed Herring. I was impressed with him throughout the year, last year. So before we, start talking about Kingsley, who he hasn't thrown one ECU football even in practice, Reed will definitely be a guy that people will be interested to see. He's going to be really, really good.
Obviously, it's still a very stressful day, but with the 9 guys that you already have on campus, does that help kind of, take a little bit of the stress off?
Yes, it turns from a 7 a.m. to 11 o'clock deal to a 7 to 9, but the stress is removed in the second part of the recruiting process, the contact period, where we're going out now, we're building relationships. I'm able to stay in a room for 2 to 3 hours with a coach or with a player at their homes in the home visit. I'm able to stay there a long time because I don't have to see 3 home visits per day. And when you don't have to do that, you can build more relationships, but it also takes the stress away. And when other teams are coming in and they're seeing 23, 24 people, they're not building the relationships we're building. And I also get a chance to go see 2018 Fire Crew.
And you were,
How do you kind of balance you say you don't like to give the freshmen sugar, so they kind of, I guess, enjoy this day to get some promotion in, but how do you kind of balance that aspect of it, and then once they start practicing, they kind of have to earn their spot and everything?
Yeah, I think it's it's one of those situations that it's a blessing to be able to come and play college football anywhere that you go across the country. I really do think that some of this, the ability to understand how big of a blessing it is. So I think there should be some celebration of it, but there's a recruiting period, and then there's a signing period, and then there's a de-recruiting period, and then there's a playing period. And the de-recruiting doesn't necessarily, people think it's the coaches that it happens to. It happens in winter conditioning, when there is no one telling them how great they are, when their stars don't matter, when everything goes out the window and you got 15 more wind sprints and the man next to you has 15 more wind sprints and nobody cares. So that de-recruitment period really comes from the players. They usually do a good job of that, especially for the kids that are here now. It's tough. You come in mid-year and these guys are ready to play and ready to go, and you don't know quite, what you're going to do in some of those situations, and then boom, you're out there with 22, 23-year-old men.
When you're recruiting someone, you get to see these intangibles for these kids. What's the priority you put for someone that's got a winning mentality, like a 4-time state champ that you guys got today?
A lot. We try to, especially at positions where they are communicators. I like quarterbacks. I like that go deep into the playoffs. I like linebackers. I like safeties. I like, receivers. I like the communication, the guys that are heavy communicators on the field. I think that has a lot to do with you being successful, because there's a reason why they're in state championships. They don't just always have the best teams. They have high football IQs, and I really think that has a lot to do with it.
Coach, you're always evaluating players in the recruiting process, but you've had to evaluate some staff members as you brought aboard. Can you kind of talk about what they'll bring?
Yeah, I think when you're talking about Robert Prunty and Brandon Lynch, I think you're talking about, I'll start with Brandon. He's got so much energy, and he just has so much energy, and he's a great person, and he recruits so hard. He jumped into that recruiting period. It was funny to me. He had to jump into the recruiting part of everything, and he didn't even have an ECU shirt until he got with me. But the first time I saw him, he had one of the suit pins that he had got from somewhere, and he had a sweater, and he put it on because he wanted everybody to know how happy he was to be a Pirate. So when he goes into homes, man, it's just overwhelming joy of the opportunity to be able to coach here and coach their son. So his pure energy with him. Robert Prunty may be one of the best recruiters I've ever been around, ever, anywhere. And I'll give him that tip. He is it's unique. He understands relationships. He has relationships throughout this state. He has relationships throughout the Southeast. He does really well in the home. He was fantastic on official visit weekend. He is a big-time recruiter. I know why he's gotten some of the accolades he's gotten. Just being around him now a week into the process, he's good. He's really, really good. He can recruit his position, but he can also recruit a specialist if he needs to do that. I'm very impressed with who he is as a recruiter. Thank you.